Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. We are here talking about the Milwaukee Brewers series. I'm Ron Luce. I am currently in a mid-season shakeup. I'm looking like Tony Marchese tonight. For those that don't know who that is, that's my co-host over at Four Feathers and one of the Socks on Tap guys. He likes to wear shades and wear funny hats. Tonight we decided to do two logos because this team still confuses the piss out of me, but they won a couple games. I am doing as well as I can on this Thursday. I am joined by the great Mr. Nick Hudson. Dude, how are you doing, man? What's up? We haven't done a show in a hot minute, it feels like.
Yeah, man, it's been a while, but it's good to get back on this mic and talk some Cubs baseball. I am just as confused as you are, to be honest. Um, you wanted more. You almost needed more, and a lot of the Cubs fans share that same sentiment that we did need more. But like your title says, they're the most electric split. They battled. They looked good. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm also depressed to talk about it. I don't know which way is up and which way is down.
And left and right are just as confusing. I'm right there with you, man. Let's just dive right into this thing, shall we? For those that maybe don't recall or didn't listen to our last episode, but you're joining us, first off, thanks. Hey, we appreciate you. Secondly, we're doing series recaps pretty much now through the All-Star break. We'll probably pick up with a Friday show for that Boston series on the 14th, if I had a guess, if I was a betting man. And then I'll be there on the 15th. Hey, that'll be nice and fun. And then we'll be back with you on the 16th, and then we'll get back into the normal swing of things. So this is our second show now of the week. We had a show on Sunday, 4-game series here with the Brewers through the holiday. That was a big part of it. But dude, series sweep. Let's go through them. 6-8 loss on Monday, just an absolute heartbreaker. The day you weren't ready for. It was the big party day of the 4th of July weekend, and we had bad Cubs juju. They blow a 6-0 lead on top of it. That's upsetting. But the next night, in 11 innings, 7-6 victory, and they follow that up with that 4-3 ninth inning magic, and the throwing error is sensational on top of it. We love throwing errors when they're for the other team, folks. But then today, just not enough. A 6-5 loss as the Brewers complete the split. Nick, confusion is the way I feel about this ball club. Let's just start there because there's days that it's like, yeah, this team's got it. They don't quit. Like this is the team. But then again, we look at the standings, and this team's still 6 games below 500 with the threat of selling on the horizon. As Joey and I touched on, this might be the most important series now coming up. Like what say you? What are your thoughts? Try to help me break this team down, man, because I'm struggling.
Yeah, you say it's the most important series coming up, and it's the freaking Yankees. I mean, we've painted ourselves into a little bit of a corner here. I think you're exactly right with the confusion. I think a lot of Cubs would share the same thoughts or your Cubs fans would share the same thoughts. We need 500 ball right now, and we're not getting it. Just to kind of show Jed, hey, we can be competitive. But if you're really a true fan at the same time, you're just missing a couple pieces. This team doesn't look bad day in and day out. It's just they lack a consistency. And I think it's from missing those crucial pieces. I mean, there are really some crucial pieces missing. The corner spots for first and foremost. But for me, like big picture, ever since that Trey Mancini London era, everything's just
Ugh,
felt kind of meh. You know,
it really
I feel
has.
like we haven't really knocked that off yet. And ever since then, it's felt kind of they're just not quite getting it all the way where they need to, and that's why we're confused, man. That's why we feel this way because we know they can play better. We want them to play better. We need them to play better. Yet they're kind of just missing the mark, and that's the most frustrating thing. That they're not all the way under, but they're also not there. And you're talking about a Cardinals team who's having a terrible season, and to waste that and not even be competitive in this crappy division, it's frustrating as a Cubs fan. But there's some good stories here as well. So that's where the confusing part comes.
Yeah, 100%. And when I think about like where my confusion lies, like you said, I think it's the moments of brilliance that we've seen at times. Like, at least for this Cubs team style, right? Like, people are gonna be like, brilliance. What do you mean? 12-7 wasn't brilliant. No, but 12-7 was winning baseball with a formula that worked for this team's build. Timely hitting, great defense, great pitching. That was how this team was built. And outside, there's obviously plenty of storylines, and we're going to do a lot of precursors tonight, folks, for our Sunday show. That's going to be the big All Star extravaganza. That might be a really long show. Come join us on a Sunday night, crack a beer, and let's just have a gold one and hashtag crack them and talk about the state of the Cubs. But as a little precursor to that, like, there's been plenty of pitching woes, enough to where things don't work. The bat's going cold, so many storylines. But like, we've seen this team be good. And for that to just not be consistent, I think is what is kind of maddening to an extent. But speaking, Nick, of one guy who's been very consistent, and he was very consistent in this series, that is Cody Bellinger. He looks good again. He looks healthy. He's back. Had an incredible series for the Cubbies. In the first game, had one hit, drove in the run. But then again, 2 hits in the second game, 2 hits in the third game. Today, he was unreal. 4 for 4 with the homer, 3 runs driven in. I mean, Bellinger looks like Cody Bellinger of old right now. And this is a perfect time. But, Nick, this is where the confusion plays in once again. Belly's hot. Are they really going to try to keep him around and extend him, or is he shipped off at the deadline, depending if they're sellers? Again, teasing for what we will then
Terrifying.
dive into on Sunday. But, like, first off, how good is it seeing Belly back to full strength? And then where do you think he is after the trade deadline?
I mean, easy answer. The first one is it's fantastic to see. It's what you absolutely need. You need him to come back and be that power bat, be the extra base hit guy. But the fact that he's still getting on base, getting hits, it's huge. It frightens me beyond belief as well, because the Cubs are not playing the kind of baseball that tells you, oh, 100% they're buyers. They're just not. And during that little stretch, we needed them to. They didn't. So, I mean, if the Yankee series goes really bad, which I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest, he could be on the chopping block. He could be someone, he could be a name. And it's so disheartening because he's that guy you want to see in Cubby Blue. I want to see Cody Bellinger at Wrigley Field hitting bombs. I just want it. And for him to be back looking like the way he used to, and for the Cubs to have given him that chance that they did and that prove it contract, and then to lose him at the deadline would be so disheartening. It really would, because, these guys, they want to win. That's really what they want to do. They don't want to be on a team that's not going to win. They want to win. And
Mhm.
This is just not winning baseball right now. The inconsistency is really starting to weigh heavy on the Cubs. You mentioned earlier about playing towards the brand of baseball, and that is timely hitting, like you said. And when the offense goes cold, you really see the Cubs struggles, and it's really hard to watch because without that timely hitting, you're relying on the pitchers to really keep it close, in which they have. We've gotten great starting pitching, but it's just difficult to win in 2023 with that formula if you're not going to stay consistent. If you're going to be up and down, you need power bats. You need guys to be getting crooked numbers up very quickly because you're just an inconsistent team. But that's not who I thought this team was. So talking about Bellinger just being like, possibly gone at the deadline is just so sad. And everyone probably feels the same way. It's a very sad thought.
I think it's really sad on top of it too, Nick, because you look at the reports that were starting to come out kind of almost in like May, that this team was kicking the tires on extensions with Stroman and Bellinger. And like, what happened? You know what I mean? It really is. It, and I hate to say it because it's not going to be at the same catastrophic level, but like, it feels infamous, like the 2021 deadline, where like that team played so bad down the stretch. That's what ultimately led to it being, completely dismantled in one deadline. I don't think it's going to be that bad, this time around, but like there's a real chance here that we could see a hot hitter like Bellinger, who I think Cubs fans have really come to enjoy and appreciate. You got him and you got Stroman, another guy that Cubs fans just absolutely adore. It's two fan favorites that could potentially be stripped away from the team. And that's what makes this run like, yeah, this is great. We love Belly playing good, but like that just means he's closer to the potential of not being here
It's
once the
just
trade
increasing his
deadline comes and
trade,
goes.
yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But speaking of another guy that was on the potential trade block here, Marcus Stroman today, Nick, in this latest game, gave up 4 earned in 5 innings of work, gave up the 3-run bomb to Yelich that really blew the game open, walked 4, probably one of his more inconsistent starts from a walk perspective in at least recent memory for me. And 6K is still for the ace. He still is number 5 in the National League in ERA, still number 10 in the entire MLB in that statistical category. But that ERA now starting to balloon a little more toward 3. Is that why he is taking the All-Star game off and not throwing and taking the rest? Does he feel fatigued? I don't think he does. But he's been Mr. Reliable. I think he's the only pitcher to make 19 starts so far on the season, at least as of today. I think it's going to fill out by the end of the weekend. But I mean, there's a very few guys that have pitched and started as many games as him. Maybe that break is probably well deserved versus trying to make him just go out there. And especially now that the All-Star game's meaningless from a there's no home field advantage standpoint anymore. Like maybe it is okay that Stroh's just there and like watching with his family at the home run derby and just chilling and hanging out in the dugout during the game and just that's his way to rest and he's getting in his work probably because he's a consummate professional. What do you think about the whole Marcus Stroman situation? Again, stemming from he didn't have his best stuff today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, he can't go out every time and be lights out, but he did struggle today finding the zone, which was a little rare from him. But he is a pitcher that definitely deserves this break. I don't think he's fully fatigued, but Marcus Stroman is a competitive guy, and he wants to win real games. And the All-Star game, quite frankly, is meaningless. So if he's going to be any type of tired or sore or anything, then yes, he's going to sit. And I think he should. He's started a lot of games. But in regards to today, he wasn't as sharp. Some of his pitches looked a little flatter than normal. And the Brewers hitters, give him credit. They did hit mistakes. So
Mhm.
when there was a mistake over the plate, they made him pay. And unfortunately, most of it came off that Yelich home run, and Yelich is starting to get back to being a threat. And it's unfortunate, but you can't rely on Marcus Stroman every single time to go out there and put up a 0. You just got to have more offense. And today, it was a competitive. Every game was a competitive game. They fought. They didn't lay down in any of these games in this whole series. So that's what gives you hope and happiness. But they're running out of time. They are running out of time. The deadline is a deadline for a reason, and it's coming. And now you have to play really a hard team, and you have to go and just show who you are, like who your true heart as a team is. And we all know that they are capable. We all know that they can do it. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be really tough.
It is, and I think with first off, you mentioned it today, right, with the Yelich homer and him becoming more of a threat. Just backing that up with numbers really quickly. This is true. This is not Yelich of old. Nobody's like, oh, Stroman didn't hit off by Yelich. He looks like his MVP self again right now. Last 30 games, he's hitting 336, 435, 60. He's got 21 ribbies and 4 homers. I mean, not crazy powered, but he's hitting the ball around the yard. It's almost like the one player that benefited from the juiced ball going away was Yelich. Like all of a sudden now he's spraying it around the yard. I think what people more remember him for in his time with the Marlins. You know what I mean? Where like that's how he got his hits. He would hit respectable home run numbers, but he's not, blowing you away as he did that 1 year as his MVP year. He's been really, really good. 379, 690 slugging in just his last 7 games. I mean, he's been unfreaking touchable or just unreal, really, for the Brewers. And you talk about just the state of the team and like them not playing well enough to truly be, buyers per se at the deadline here. I'm just, it's almost a bummer, really. I'm going to take this thing totally off course here for a hot second. It's just a real bummer because I kind of almost want to be either mad or happy at this team, not confused. Confused is a very weird state. It's not fun with baseball because you sit here and you wonder what if, and then like we'll probably never see that. And at this point, there's so many positives, right? And one of them that I want to transition our conversation to here in a few minutes, but like just how does this team get us out of that state of confusion, Nick?
I mean, like I said, so because it's a deadline, they don't have as much time to do so. I think that they have a very formidable opponent coming up, and it's going to be very tough. I just don't think that they had the fair shake of getting, right now, getting us to feel one way or the other
Mhm.
because they perform so well and then they perform so bad. In between those little stretches, they have such inconsistent ways about themselves. And I think that's probably the most frustrating thing for me. Like you said, the what if. I always lay in bed after a Cubs loss going, what if? Like, what if we just got that one game and just because to me, I'm a momentum guy. So that's why I brought up the Trey Mancini thing. The momentum felt like it just totally fell off the track after that. And I haven't really felt it back. We've won some, but it's just that mojo, and it hasn't felt like it's been fully back. And now, unfortunately, you're really running out of time here. But they could play a really good stretch of baseball coming up, and really shock the hell out of everyone. And that is obviously everyone's hope. Is it going to happen? I'm confused. I don't know. I honestly don't know if it's going to go good, if it's going to go bad. This series gave me a lot of hope. They battled really hard. But it's just, you don't know what you're going to get on the daily basis. You just don't know what Cubs team is going to be out there, and it's tough.
Yeah, 100%. And I have one more question to propose you before we talk a little bit of the newsier stuff and what we're rooting for here into the All-Star break, and that is just the competitiveness of this series. Nick, do you think the Cubs staying this close and it being so dead even with the Brewers is good or bad for where they are in the standings? Because so many people talk, oh, this Brewers team's not that good, but they're only 2 games out of first. And I know it's a bad NL Central, but they're only 2 games out of first. The Reds are just playing unbelievable baseball. Ellie De La Cruz was the greatest shot of whatever you want to call it into their veins to
Yeah.
get them going. I mean, is that good for the Cubs? Like, hey, you hung around and you split with the Brewers and you were literally in it down to the wire in every single game? Or is that like, they're just not quite there yet? You see where I'm
Yeah.
coming from? Do you
I
what
totally see where you're coming from.
which side of the coin do you think it lies more on, the positive or the negative?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say positive, but I think it definitely relies on expectations. Like, what do you view this Cubs team to be? Do you view them to be someone like the Reds, which I thought with my season predictions, they were going to be up there. I really
Mm,
did. I thought that they had the pieces and they would play that style of baseball. And early on, they did. They looked really good. It's just a matter of staying consistent. But going against the Brewers, I mean, they're not just a team that will roll over. So to have that competitive edge this weekend, and to look the way they did, I think that I think that that's a positive for sure. You don't you don't want to keep falling further in the standings no matter what's happening, buyers or sellers. But to go against a team like that and continue to battle even when you're down in the ninth, It was a really good sign for me, at least. It's just, is it too little too late? I don't know. I'm hoping it's not. Your positive look there with the shades and everything, the shakeup. I'm hoping it just changes it. And we're just talking about, maybe we will be buyers. Maybe we need a couple more pieces, and then we'll turn this whole thing on its head, because the Reds are playing baseball that you just cannot keep up that pace. You can't convince me otherwise. You can't keep up that pace. I think the NL is still open, but it's gonna be the Central, but it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna have to be a lot of consistent baseball, and you haven't gotten that.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I think in general it's positive, but they definitely need to build off of that moving forward. They need to build off into the energy and some of that no quit mentality that they've built into the next series and hope that translates into wins. But something that has been very consistent, Nick, to your point, is that one big old lefty from Mississippi, Mr. Justin Steele, because in case people didn't see, obviously Stroman has now said he has pulled out. Everybody's wondering who the all-star starter is going to be for the National League. Three probably main contenders for that. And I wrote a little more about it over at ontapsportsnet.com. But it's going to come down to probably Spencer Strider, Zach Gallen, or Justin Steele. Gallen and Strider have the prettier strikeout numbers. Strider's got 155 and 98 in the third innings. It's disgusting. And then Gallen's got 120 in like 111 innings. A lot more innings from Gallen. He's been a real workhorse. But they both have above 3 ERAs. Gallen's a 315, so closer to the top of the league. Strider's like a 366. But Justin Steele, in 91 innings of work, and I think he's got less starts than the other two by one, 91 in the third innings, 81 punch outs, but a sparkling 256 ERA that's third best in the National League right now. And he's 9-2 on a team that is below 500. I know pitchers, pitcher wins aren't as important of a stat. I agree, they're not in the total picture, but it surely looks really good when you're 9-2 for your 40-46 ball club. Like, I am calling the argument right now, the petition, because first off, Tyler got up here and told all of us on the Cubs on Tap stage live that Justin Steele would be in Seattle this summer. Way back in early February, he called this. It came to fruition. He said it happened. Now the petition starts and furthermore just gains steam. Let him start the All-Star game. How cool would that be? The Mississippi fastball starting, the big lefty, and then Strider and Gallen, 2 and 3. How cool would that be? I know how the world works, and it this is my negative side of it. It's, well, everybody likes the best, pitcher for the best team, and he's killing it in strikeouts. So it's probably going to be Strider, but like Justin Steele's one of the first three out in this game in some form or fashion. If they want to get fun and have go, righty, lefty, righty, if they want to let him start, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but I am calling my petition. I want to see Justin Steele start the All-Star game. How freaking cool would that be to just watch him take that spot? Just for sure. The All-Star nod is huge, but kind of take his spot as like, yeah, I am one of the elites of the NL, because he's up there and he's proving he's an ace for this Cubs team. Nick, do you agree with me that Justin Steele should start for the NL in the All-Star game next week?
100%. I definitely agree with you. You mentioned the negative side with, the better team, the more strikeouts, but Justin Steele's been a guy, like you mentioned, on a team that's not going to go out there and blow you out. And he's got a great win-loss record. And yeah, we can't weigh too much into that, but I do. And I think, especially like you said, with a team that's lower in the standings, it's a big thing. And he goes out there and he just takes control of the game. And as a National League fan rooting for them, I would want to see Justin Steele go out there and just take control right out of the gate, blow them away. I agree with you 100%, man.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to hear when they announce it. I don't know when they'll announce it. I hope it's sooner than later so the anticipation can build a little bit. Um, for everybody, especially if he does get the starting nod. But nonetheless, it'll be cool to see, a trio of Cubs in Seattle. And again, we'll talk more about all of that on Sunday. So Nick, with the Brewers series still on the mind, any final thoughts about this series from your standpoint before we look ahead to the Yankees?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good fought series. It really was. I think that they battled really hard. I think it's something you totally build off of, and you take that and you move on against the Yankees, and you continue to battle hard.
Yeah, I completely agree. And hopefully they're able to, just do something with this upcoming series. Because this is a series that I think we both sat here and agreed, Nick. Like, this was good. There was positive from the series. Yes, it sucks that they took only 2 out of the 4. Would have loved 3. Would have a sweep would have been even better. But there was still a lot of positives. This team didn't quit, and they've got something building, and hopefully they can build it forward because Nick, as you noted, the Yankees are on the schedule coming up. Friday is game one. We'll be back after Sunday's game. But Friday, it's a 6:05 start. It will be Carlos Rodon versus Jamison Tyone. I believe Rodon might be making his first start of the season, actually. Yeah, he is. He is making his first start of the season. Of course, it's going to be against the Cubs. And if he throws just, an absolute gem, it's going to get shoved in everybody's face. And again, Tyone pitching against his former team. Drew Smiley takes the bump against Garrett Cole on Saturday because, of course, we want to see one of the better pitchers in the AL on a Saturday afternoon. 12:05 start in that one. And then Sunday is a 12:35 start. A nice early game to get the boys off and onto their vacations for All-Star break. Kyle Hendricks takes the bump against the man who threw a perfect game, Domingo Yerman, on Sunday afternoon. Nick, what do the Cubs need to do in this series to hopefully take 2 out of 3 and build momentum heading into the All-Star break?
Yeah, I mean, they got to do a little bit more of the same and a little bit more than what they did when they split with the Brewers. They have to continue to have timely hitting and clutch hitting, and they must get runners on base for the power guys like Belly. They gotta set the plate for him because he's right there ready to deliver. Suzuki was really heating up too, so that's a guy to keep your eye on. I think that he can definitely continue to help this team with the power side. You're going to need some power. You really are, especially against the Yankees. Crooked numbers go up quick, and you're gonna need to really battle hard. Jamison Tyone needs to go out there and just do better. Just do better.
Keep it
There's
simple.
no
Just do better.
do better because it's not been good enough. It really hasn't. And going against your former team, it gives you a little bit more, something to play for. I'm hoping that plays into it a little bit. But this is the midnight hour here for the Cubs, and Jed and buy or sell. All of that is going to play into the series, and it's a really important one. Everyone was saying that the Brewers one was very, very important, and because we split it, I think now the Yankees series has become even more important.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. Just rebound starts, I think, for this pitching staff. I mean, Hendricks looked really good overall. He's just been so consistent for this Cubs team over the course, of his just brief stint now back coming from the injury, obviously. Smiley should bounce back. I would expect Smiley to bounce back. Just need Tyone. I am a truther that if right now, if he's dealing with whatever he's got to figure out, 5 innings, 3 or less runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. He gives me that stat line every time. I'll deal with it until he can finally get there in the nick of time. You know what I mean? So we'll go to see about that. Quickly, Just, Joey asking how many hot dogs did you guys eat on the fourth? Joey Chestnut wants to know. I didn't eat any. Nick, did you eat any?
Yeah, I had 3.
You had three. Nice. I did not have any. I had three the day prior because I was at a party the day prior. Um, I crushed. Was it three? No, it might have only been two. I crushed two hot dogs. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Might have been three. I don't know. It was a party night. It was a hashtag Crackham night for sure. And then Joey's coming at me here and making fun of me because one of the pitching matchups in this series is Hendricks versus Domingo Herman. Sorry, my bad. We don't cover the Yankees here at On Tap Sportsnet, and I'm bad with names. He says Ron's making fun of Bochy and Bocce and says Domingo Yerman instead of Domingo Herman. What in the no? If you go on Google, I don't know if everybody's seen the clip. If you haven't seen the clip, go find it at Cubbies on Tap. It's out there. Joey and I had a discussion on Sunday's show. He was like, happy fourth to you, Ron. He's like, I'm some beer bags in the backyard, some bocce. And I'm like, did you just say bocce? I was like, do you mean bocce? Like bocce ball? He's like, it's bocce, Ron. And so we had this entire debate for the entire preview section of the show. It's exactly where we are in our show right now. This is like the off the wall 10-minute segment that Cubs on Tap will now just begin doing at the end of every show. He's like, I'm gonna hit you through the screen. It was funny because I was winding him up. And, you know I was, Joey. And he was like, I left it, you leave it in the baseball god's hands with how bad his backyard is roughage wise. And I was like, you mean the bocce gods? He's like, the bocce gods, this whole back and forth debate. I asked the question on my Instagram. I was like, who is it, bocce or is it bocce? And I've got a couple of people tell me it is bocce, but most 97% of the people say bocce. So I'm just telling you, Joey. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying what you're saying is like tomato instead of tomato. Okay, just bear with me there, man. Joey's out of control. He's saying it's not the Paisan version. Nick, you're Italian. Is it bocce or is it bocce? We need to know now.
I mean, I've always heard it bocce, but bocce,
Thank you.
who knows? It could be bocce. I might be wrong.
No,
I've
you're
just
not
heard it
wrong,
as
Nick.
bocce.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you,
Who
Nick.
knows? I don't
Tell
know.
Joey. Remind Joey that it's not bocce, it's bocce. All right. You play bocce ball, not bocce ball. I don't know what bocce ball is. Any hoodles. We had to go off the rails to wrap this show up. Uh Nick, final thoughts for us because again, the next time everybody hears from us, it's going to be after this Yankees series on Sunday. Come in, buckled up, ready to go. We're going to have hopefully the full panel here. It should be almost everybody. We're talking Cubs All-Star break, everything first half, you name it. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a Sunday fun day episode for sure. Come join us here on the YouTube if you're not already. Subscribe to the On Tap Sportsnet YouTube channel. Hit the little dinger button. That way you know when we go live here and with all of our great shows at On Tap Sportsnet, and we'll have a good time. Join us in the comments, just as a co-host of ours, Joey, did, asking how many hot dogs people ate on the fourth. Should be like a reply episode. If you listen to this show, you want to interact with us on social media, answer how many hot dogs did you eat on the fourth. That is the fan question for the week. Joey says disappointed. Festa Italiana Bocci, according to Joey. Bocce, if you're the normal person. Sign-ups deadline July 23rd. Should have an on-tap team. I am atrocious, Joey. Do not ask me to
I'm
play that.
down. I'm pretty good at bocce ball or bocce ball, whichever.
Bocce, bocce, potato, tomato, tomato. Chicago. You know, we all got little funky accents. It's okay. It's what makes the Midwest fun. It's what makes the Midwest fun. Yeah, man. Final thoughts. What are you thinking before we get out of here? This thing's off the
Yeah.
rails.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the split was promising, but be better. Go out there, against a team that everyone's going to count you out against right now with everything, all the rumors and all the people saying sell, put it all aside and just go play good baseball and see what happens. I want to come in here Sunday not sad. I do not want to come here Sunday sad because I feel like this season's been up and down, but the majority have been sad.
Agreed. There's been some good, but a lot of bad, and
Oh,
we
bad.
don't want to be sad. We don't want to be big sad on Sunday Fun Day.
No.
And Joey says, "Love you guys. Let's get this thing back on track, please." Yes, we will, Joey. Because I am in agreement. We just don't want to be sad on Sunday. I think that's the best place. We want
No.
a fun Sunday Fun Day, not a sad Sunday Fun Day. That's exactly the
Heck
opposite
yeah.
of what we want, and we will hope for that after this Yankees series. Once again, everybody, reminding you before we get out of here, Cubs on Tap, one of two official On Tap Sports Tap podcast covering the Chicago Cubs. Check out our friends over at the Dingers Podcast at Dinger Cubs on Twitter and Instagram. Boys are live every Monday night, between 8 and 8:30 usually, talking all the good things. But they were actually live last night, Wednesday night, because of the holiday as well. Be sure to check out their latest episode right here on our YouTube or on their podcast platform as well. In addition, follow us at Cubbies on Tap, CUBBIES, Twitter and Instagram. And we're working on the whole threads thing. We're going to save that for a later date. Okay. I am at Loose on Tap. He's at Nick _on tap, at Juice on Tap, at Joey Knows Nothing, and at Teddy Freddy 270, at Bulls Guy Rob as well. Follow everybody that contributes here to Cubs on Tap. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, you know the drill. We got it all. Hawks, we just recorded this week. We'll probably be on a smaller hiatus coming up here as we get into the season further. And Bears took a nice little hiatus as well, but we're going to be ramping back up. Football is on its way. And the Bulls guys got a lot to talk about as well. You'll be hearing from them soon, too. And yes, Cubs fans, you know the drill. We all got friends that like the Southsiders. Send your friends to our friends and let them be friends over at Sox on Tap, as the boys do a great job covering the players at 35th and Shields. OnTapSportsNet.com, at OnTapSportsNet, on social media, the OnTap Sportsnet. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Nick, it is always a pleasure, buddy. Brewers split. Who cut the cheese? Who split the cheese? You name it, you call it whatever you want. That's the episode title name. Cubs split the 4-game set with the Brew Crew. Looking forward to a 3-game set with the Yankees before All-Star break. Nick, what do you say, buddy? We get out of here the only way we know how? At Cubs on Tap?
Fuck the Cardinals.
Absolutely. And let's go.